The story begins at around 3:30 in the morning when a high-security truck stops outside a donut shop in Los Angeles. Two security guards step out of the truck and enter the shop. Suddenly, a car and an SUV block the truck's path, and several men wearing body armor and gas masks step out. The armed men are carrying powerful assault rifles. As soon as the guards come back outside, the attackers point their guns at them. The truck driver quickly informs the Los Angeles police that heavily armed criminals have surrounded them. One of the guards secretly tries to pull out his gun, but one of the attackers shoots him immediately. Another criminal then kills the truck driver. The gang opens the truck door and drags out the remaining guard. At the same time, the police arrive at the scene. A massive shootout begins from both sides, but the police pistols are no match for the gang's assault weapons. During the exchange of fire, 4 police officers and 1 gang member are killed. Soon after, the criminals escape with the truck. They take the truck to a warehouse hideout. The gang leader, Ray, angrily scolds Bosco for shooting the security guard during the robbery. Ray then tells the crew that the truck needs to be repaired before anything else. As soon as Ray opens the truck door, Anson asks him if everything is all right. Ray replies that they have already killed 4 police officers, so the police must now be hunting them aggressively. Meanwhile, Detective Nick O'Brien arrives at the crime scene. He walks over to the sheriff's department officers standing near the dead gang member's body. The officers are confused about why the criminals stole an empty truck. Nick tells them the gang must have a bigger plan behind the robbery. From across the street, Bosco secretly takes pictures of the meeting from a distance. Later, he shows the photos to Ray and points at Nick, saying that he is leading the investigation. Ray explains to the gang that Nick is the head of the Major Crimes Division. After seeing Nick's photo, Donnie, who had driven the truck the previous night, quietly leaves the area. Nick and his team continue investigating the case. They conclude that the robbery could only have happened with help from an insider. Otherwise, there was no way the gang could have known the exact timing and location of the truck. The investigators suspect that Ray, who was released on parole 8 months earlier, is connected to the crime. Meanwhile, Donnie works nights as a bartender. One evening, he notices that a Federal Reserve employee accidentally leaves his ID card at the bar. Donnie places the ID inside the cash register and later meets Mac, a member of the Recce gang. At the same bar, Nick is also present and begins questioning Donnie. Donnie casually replies that all kinds of people visit the bar, including both criminals and police officers. He says the place is open to everyone. After Donnie finishes his shift and heads to his car, Nick suddenly knocks on the car window. Before Donnie can react, Nick attacks him and knocks him unconscious. When Donnie wakes up, he finds himself in an unfamiliar place. As he steps out of the bedroom, he sees Nick's entire team along with 4 women inside the house. Nick shows Donnie a CCTV photo in which he can clearly be seen meeting Ray. Detective Gus tells him that they already know everything about his past. He reminds Donnie that he was once arrested for car theft and escaping from the police. He also mentions that Donnie previously went to jail for attempted murder and was fined for driving one of the fastest cars ever recorded in California. Gus warns him that even one more mistake could send him back to prison for many years. Donnie nervously tries to defend himself and says that he has only met Ray once or twice. He insists that he knows nothing else about the gang. Nick then points at a tattoo on Donnie's arm with the word regulators written on it. Nick asks him if he knows what that name means. He explains that there is a secret group of police officers known as Click, and he is one of its members. According to Nick, this group does not believe in rules or second chances for criminals. Instead, they deal with criminals using violence and bullets. Nick then directly asks Donnie why someone like him is connected to such a dangerous crew. Donnie replies that he is only their driver and knows nothing about the gang's real operations. Nick warns Donnie to stay connected with the gang and answer every phone call he receives from him. He makes it clear that if Donnie refuses, he will personally come after him. Meanwhile, Ray and his crew begin secretly observing the Federal Reserve Bank in Los Angeles. Ray explains that no successful robbery has ever happened at this bank. He says the security system is so advanced that even after 53 robbery attempts, nobody has ever managed to steal anything. That is exactly why Ray wants to target the bank. Back at the police department, the officers discover that Ray, Anson, Donnie, and Bosco are all former Marine commandos. The investigators review every major robbery from the past 10 years. During the investigation, they notice that no large-scale robberies occurred while Ray was serving time in prison. Nick tells his team that if they catch Ray, they may finally solve many of the unsolved robberies from previous years. Later, Ray and his gang return to their warehouse hideout. Ray begins explaining the Federal Reserve Bank's daily routine to the crew. He tells them that the bank removes old and damaged bills from circulation every day. Between 4 and 5 p.m., those bills are shredded into tiny pieces and treated as waste. The destroyed cash is then collected by a waste management company. Ray plans to intercept the money before it gets destroyed. According to him, the stolen cash would amount to nearly $30 million that technically no longer belongs to anyone. Meanwhile, Donnie starts working for a Chinese food delivery company. Employees at the Federal Reserve Bank regularly order food from that restaurant. Using this opportunity, Donnie enters the bank carrying 2 delivery bags. After passing through security, he walks inside the building. He delivers 1 food bag to the women sitting in the cafeteria. Then he quietly takes the second bag and and heads toward the restroom. Donnie hides the bag inside an air vent above the ceiling. That same night, Ray and his crew are eating at a restaurant when the police suddenly arrive there. Nick walks toward Ray's table and casually talks to Donnie, pretending they know each other from a gym. Later, after returning to the warehouse, Ray becomes suspicious that Donnie may be working with the police. Donnie denies it, but Ray points a gun at him and demands to know how he knows Nick. Donnie finally admits that Nick once caught him and already knows about the entire crew. He also explains that he never contacted Nick again after that incident. Ray eventually believes him. He then tells Donnie to deliver a message to Nick that a robbery will take place on Friday. Later, Donnie meets Nick inside a suit shop. Nick asks what the gang was doing at the restaurant earlier. However, Donnie avoids the question and only tells him that the robbery is planned for Friday, although he does not know the location. After that, Nick visits the nightclub where Ray's girlfriend works and quietly watches her performance. When her show ends, she walks over to Nick and whispers something in his ear. Soon, both of them arrive at her house together. The next morning, Ray arrives at the house. His girlfriend quickly runs out of the living room while Nick steps out from inside without a shirt. Both men silently stare at each other. They then notice a gun lying on the table nearby. Nick signals Ray with his eyes to pick up the weapon, hoping to provoke him, but Ray refuses to fall into the trap. Instead, he calmly walks past Nick, enters the bedroom, and shuts the door. After leaving the house, Nick gets into his car and calls his partner. He gives him the address of the robbery location, which he secretly obtained from Ray's girlfriend. Later, Ray's girlfriend tells him that she did exactly what he asked her to do. Finally, the day of the robbery arrives. Police officers begin monitoring the bank closely. A van suddenly stops in the parking lot, and Ray's crew steps out wearing bulletproof vests, masks, and carrying assault rifles. As soon as they enter the bank, they destroy the security cameras and order everyone to sit on the floor. The gang confiscates everyone's phones, ties up the hostages, and takes full control of the building. Ray forces the bank manager to call the police and deliver their demands. He instructs the manager to ask for $1 million and a fully fueled helicopter. Ray warns that if their demands are not met, they will kill one hostage every hour. He also threatens that if the police attempt to enter the bank, every hostage inside will die. Soon, police officers and FBI agents surround the building. A phone suddenly rings inside the bank, and Ray answers it himself. He immediately asks whether the authorities are preparing what he demanded. The officer on the phone replies that they are working on it. Ray then claims that someone has already been killed because the police called without arranging the money. A moment later, one of the gang members drags a man into another room and gunshots are heard. When the police call again, the bank manager answers this time. The manager nervously tells them that one hostage has already been killed. He warns that every unnecessary phone call will lead to another death. He then says the police should only call again after arranging the ransom demanded by the robbers. The officer asks Ray if he can wait another 90 minutes, and Ray agrees to the delay. The bank manager then passes the message along to the police outside. Meanwhile, officers outside study the bank's blueprint carefully. Suddenly, the sound of an explosion echoes from inside the building. The police realize that the robbers have likely blown open the vault. While examining the map, Nick notices something unusual and asks Tony about it. Tony explains that it is an old sewage line that was probably sealed years ago. Nick immediately realizes it could be used as an escape route. He quickly decides that they need to enter the bank. Nick grabs an iron rod and begins forcing open the bank's main entrance. After entering the building, he checks on the hostages and asks if everyone is all right. To his surprise, none of the robbers are inside anymore. Nick and his team then move toward the back area of the bank where a hostage was supposedly killed earlier. However, they soon discover that the entire execution was staged and the woman is actually alive. A short time later, they find a pit connected to the old sewage tunnel. Nick realizes the gang escaped through the underground passage. Without wasting time, he enters the sewage tunnel to chase them. At the same time, Mac calls the bank while pretending to be an employee from a security transport company. He informs the guards that their armored truck is only 2 minutes away and tells them to prepare the gate. Soon, Ray and Anson arrive dressed exactly like official security guards. They are driving the same truck stolen at the beginning of the story. The gang had repainted the vehicle and slightly modified its appearance so it would look identical to the original armored truck. The truck stops at the bank's security gate, where Ray and Anson show fake identification cards to the Federal Reserve officer on duty. The IDs appear completely authentic. Since the guards were already informed by phone that the truck was arriving, they do not become suspicious and allow them inside. Ray and Anson unload 2 large containers filled with cash bundles from the back of the truck. They carry the containers to the currency counting floor inside the bank. A bank employee places the containers inside the room where $100 bills are processed. After that, Ray and Anson move to the waiting area, while Bosco remains hidden inside the underground tunnel beneath the bank. Ray contacts Bosco through the radio and informs him that Donnie has reached the counting room. Bosco then activates a switch connected to the power grid, causing the bank's electrical system to weaken temporarily. As a result, the money shredding machines stop working. The security cameras and motion sensors inside the counting room also shut down. One of the security guards informs the counting staff that the system will be offline for a short period and tells them to take a break. As soon as the employees and guards leave the room, room, Ray contacts Donnie over the radio and tells him it is time to begin. With no one left inside, Donnie slowly emerges from a hidden compartment inside one of the containers. Inside the bank, the police officers and security guards notice that the cameras and motion sensors are no longer functioning. One guard immediately tells another officer to count all the cash containers quickly before something suspicious happens. The guard then goes to call the counting staff from the cafeteria. At that moment, Donnie is hiding under a table inside the counting room. He secretly stuffs bundles of dollar bills, which were supposed to be destroyed, into black zipper bags. After filling the bags, he hides them inside garbage bins. Soon, the security guard returns to the counting room along with 2 counting employees. Ray quickly signals Donnie through the radio to escape immediately. Donnie removes the cover from an air vent and climbs inside. Once inside the ventilation shaft, he informs Ray over the radio about his position. Ray then tells Bosco to restore the power. As soon as the electricity comes back on, the employees resume their work normally. Donnie crawls through the ventilation system and exits through a bathroom vent. Using the same access card left behind earlier by the bank employee at the bar, he moves freely around the building. Before leaving, Donnie delivers the food order to the woman who had complained earlier. He then calmly walks out of the bank without attracting attention. Meanwhile, several members of Donnie's crew arrive to collect garbage from the bank. The garbage is loaded into 2 separate trucks belonging to the same company. Everything has already been carefully planned in advance. When the trucks stop at a crossroads, the drivers quietly exchange signals with a nod. Alexei collects the garbage containers from the bank and drives away. At the same time, Ray and Anson leave the bank in their fake security truck. Bosco follows one of the garbage trucks and keeps Ray updated on its location. Soon, Ray intercepts the truck and blocks its path from the front. Bosco then stops the vehicle from behind. He rushes toward the driver, points a gun at him, and orders him to step out. Bosco takes control of the garbage truck and drives away while the rest of the gang follows him. Meanwhile, Nick and his team continue searching the city for Ray and his crew. During the search, Nick suddenly spots Donnie on the road and immediately stops his vehicle. From a distance, Mac watches as the officers force Donnie into their truck. Under pressure, Donnie finally gives the police the gang's location. At that moment, Ray and his crew are at a large dump site. Mac calls Ray and informs him that Donnie has been captured. He asks what they should do next. However, Ray disconnects the call without answering. Ray then tells Anson that both Donnie and Mac have been caught. Immediately after that, the two escape from the area in a car. Soon, Nick catches sight of Ray's vehicle and begins chasing it through a crowded highway. While following the car, Nick radios Detective Murph and Baracho, informing them about Ray's location. Ray notices in the mirror that Nick's car is following them through heavy traffic. Gus handcuffs Donnie to the vehicle before leaving with Nick and Tony. Soon, Murph and Baracho also arrive at the location. At the same time, Ray, Anson, and Bosco step out of their truck. As the police officers move toward them, Ray suddenly opens fire. One officer is shot and dies instantly. The police immediately return fire and the quiet street turns into a battlefield. Bullets fly from every direction, tearing through vehicles on both sides of the road. During the shootout, Bosco is hit in the neck. In response, Ray shoots one of the officers in the knee. Ray and Anson then begin running down the street while Nick chases after them. The officers fire several shots at Anson and manage to hit him accurately. Meanwhile, Ray escapes into a narrow alley with Nick close behind him. Nick fires at Ray, seriously injuring him. Despite his condition, Ray struggles to reload his weapon. After great difficulty, he finally reloads the gun and forces himself back onto his feet. Ray slowly moves toward Nick while continuing to fire shots at him. Nick reloads his own weapon and shoots Ray directly in the chest. Ray collapses to the ground and crawls behind a nearby car. He pulls out a knife and somehow manages to stand up again. Even after being badly wounded, Ray points his empty gun toward Nick. Believing his life is still in danger, Nick reluctantly shoots Ray again. Only afterward does Nick realize that Ray's gun had no bullets left. When Nick returns to the car, he discovers that Donnie has escaped. Nick and Gus then remove several black bags from Ray's vehicle. After opening the bags, Nick realizes they contain only shredded pieces of currency instead of real cash. Later, Nick visits the bar where Donnie used to work and asks for his address. The bar owner tells him that Donnie quit the job 2 days earlier. While sitting in the bar, Nick notices 2 bank employees wearing access cards around their necks. At the same time, he carefully studies a football team photo hanging on the wall and spots Donnie standing with several friends. As Nick steps outside the bar, he notices the nearby bank and suddenly understands the truth. He realizes that Donnie was actually the mastermind behind the entire operation. In the final scenes, Donnie is shown working as a bartender in a London bar. The same friends who acted as garbage collectors during the robbery are also there with him. It becomes clear that Donnie had secretly planned to betray Ray and the rest of the gang from the beginning. That is why 2 identical garbage trucks were used during the escape. One truck carried shredded paper, while the other contained the real $100 bills worth nearly $30 million. Donnie had hidden the stolen money inside vehicle tires and secretly shipped it to Panama. Now he is preparing for another major robbery, this time in London. Thanks for watching.